friends, here I will be showing you today how I clean a flat stovetop. This stovetop has been mistreated, as you can see. You could also say it has hard water, and it's a lot more difficult to remove it from these type of stovetops. The stains don't completely come off, but I managed to remove a percentage of it. I like to use a brush, dishwashing soap, and a black sponge. As I mentioned on my other video recently posted, I'll make sure to leave a link at the description below. I only put a little bit of this soap with this sponge and this brush you can see here. I love this brush so much. I really like using this brush to do the sides and corners of the stovetops without much force. You'll see how it turns out after scrubbing it without water. Just the dish soap and the black sponge is all you need. You can also use the degreaser, but I like using the dish soap more. As I mentioned on my other video, this sponge has a hard and soft side. This sponge is usually to scrub on wood, but I like to use it to polish the glass stovetops. So first, because the stovetop has hard spots of stains, I start with the harder surface of the sponge. I always try to do circles starting from one end and slowly going to the other end of the stove. This helps prevent any missing spots. We have to make sure to be careful with the edges. Because if the sides of the stovetop is metal, the black sponge will scratch it. Only scrub on the glass surface of the stovetop. Keep scrubbing the surface to remove all that you can, and like I mentioned before, the sponge has a hard side and a soft side. Same goes for the sides of the sponge. One side is soft and the other side is hard. You will definitely be there scrubbing for a while depending on how bad the stovetop is. I haven't seen any type of liquid where you just spray it, wipe it down, and it's all gone. Definitely not. We have to scrub to remove as much as we can. We can also use pumice to help remove stains on the stovetop, but I'll show you that in a little bit. This sponge, once it hits a stain, you'll feel a bump, and that's where you have to put a little bit more force on scrubbing. Double check the surface if there are any little small bits of stains within the stovetop. We're soon to be finished scrubbing. Okay, so once we start using the brush, we go throughout the sides and corners of the stovetop to remove all the dirt and grease it has, trying to make sure it does not continue to accumulate. Personally, I don't like these stoves because the back of it, you can't clean it. So since I'm not able to remove it easily, it's very inconvenient. I'll need to move the stovetop forward in order for me to have access to clean it. Okay, now after we have finished scrubbing, we are going to just wipe it down to remove all the soap. All these marks that you can see are due to pans and pots that get removed from one place to another without picking it up. I did once remove the marks on the stove with pumice, but it took me so long to finish. I believe it was 2 hours. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's the hard spots of water that stuck to the glass. I've already tried my best to use different products, but so far none have managed to get them off. It was a little thicker and I removed partial of it with pumice, but now it's very thin stain. You might be thinking this might cause marks using the pumice. Well, the stove I have here doesn't have marks, and none of the stoves I've done before have had any type of marks after using it. But before I use it, I always do a test because you never know if the material is more delicate. The old school stovetops do get scratches on them if you use pumice. So here we have marks that I used with pumice. Not sure if you can see it. I continue to do it with circles to make sure I get every one of the marks. More than anything, I do the surroundings of where the pots would be. Just continue using the pumice until you feel like that's all it can do. We're now finishing up drying it until it's completely ready. Let's just make sure to remove all these little rocks from the pumice. The stove panel, we are going to focus on the knobs. It's especially important to check what each usage is. Since all of them are different and each have different ways of increasing the burner, we don't want to mix them up. We also have to make sure to check every time the bottom of the knob, because some of them don't have what this stove has. This stove closes the bottom entry while others have it opened. Sometimes when the knobs are stuck, because aggressive grease has accumulated, we get a rag and then insert it inside the knob and then pull it out. It will save you time and effort. Now you can't really see it very well because I'm recording and I'm using this technique by one hand, but it definitely will help you if you're trying to remove it. One by one should be lined up and pulled together. We have to make sure we get these in order and set aside. The edges and corners and the surroundings of each place where the knob was placed has to be done. The surroundings of here, I try to make sure to remember, but we also use the degreaser here from the store Smart and Final. From here to here is the water, and the bottom part is just degreaser. Now here's the sponge that I use for the stove panel. It's very soft and it's not going to scratch it at all. So we have to make sure to spray it onto the sponge. Spray it onto the sponge, not onto the panel, and then start scrubbing. I also want to mention that the degreaser should not be left there for too long. We have to make sure to remove it as soon as possible. If the sponge isn't able to remove some grease stains, then the brush is there to help you remove the extra leftovers. As you can see, this brush is an extra equipment that we provide to our cleaners to make sure that they're able to get every little inch, edges, corners. Let's make sure to dry it down, not leave any speck of degreaser. As you can see the difference on both sides, one is now clean while the other one still needs work. Now the front panel with the buttons on top, you have to make sure to check there are no cracks on it, because if there is, you can definitely damage it. I try to make sure to get one side and the edges to remove all the grease accumulated around it. As long as there are no cracks, everything should be fine. Now let's make sure to spray down the sponge one more time. I really like this sponge because it does not scratch, and it's like if the sponge was your nail and it has multiple nails trying to remove as much as it can. Definitely recommend it for this use. I always try to make sure to look for different products to help reduce the time I do, because if we do not have the right equipment, it makes you feel like this is more complicated than what it should be. Thinking it was too much time and it did not come out to the benefit. Usually it's because we don't have the right equipment that is necessary for you to finish on time. Gotta make sure to dry it. Alright, now that we are here, what we are going to do is use the watered down degreaser and spray it all over the knobs to make sure it gets to every part of it. Then we're going to leave it for 8 to 10 minutes. Now remember, we can't leave it for too long because the knobs are painted, and if you leave it for too long, the paint will start to peel off. With this brush, we are going to scrub all the corners and sides of the knobs. As you can see inside here, every single one of them has to be scrubbed down. So now that we are finished, we see no peeling from the knobs. Alright, I hope you enjoyed it, and any tip you can give me to reduce the time spent and make it better is always welcome. The most important thing when someone cleans houses is to do a job faster. Thank you for seeing my video. I'll wait for your comments. Have a great day. I hope that the translating videos that I post for LimpiezaConCarolina helps you in your house cleaning. She has a lot more tips, and I'll definitely be translating all her videos throughout this channel, because I know that there's a lot of people on the comment section that are asking for tips in English. They understand it, but not completely, and they would wish for it to be in English. So I decided to make videos just translating it to English. So if you want to see more, make sure to be updating yourself with my YouTube channel. Once a week on a Saturday, we'll be uploading new videos. Leave a comment on the section below. I hope you have a great day. Bye.